Greetings, crafty ones. This is Athena, the crafty witch, and it's been a long time since I've been here. Today is Beltane, and I'm recording just a very brief message of greeting to you and your family. So I hope you have a happy Beltane. Now, I did promise I would tell you what I've been up to and what I'm going to be up to, and this seems like a good time to do it. Well, what I'm up to is getting my house ready to sell, and I have pretty much dismantled the altar behind me because, you don't want strangers coming in the house and observing that. And sadly, I have taken my herb collection and scattered it to the winds. I'm moving, and I am not going to be able to take my herbs much really with me. And it's really very thrilling though, because I am moving to France. I'm just now getting the house ready to put on the market, and I hope to be in France by autumn. It's been a long time coming. This was something I've dreamed of since I was 17 and first visited France by myself. And I returned there in the summer last year and realized that, yes, I really do want to do this. And so I, got a bit sidetracked when I broke my wrist, which, ta-da, is all fine and dandy. And I've been painting the rooms of the house and moving great big boxes of books, and it's as though I never broke it. So that's just wonderful. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to be moving to France, to Brittany or Bretagne in particular, and hopefully to some place in the vicinity of Quimper, which, if you're taking notes, is spelled Quimper. It's a delightful city of about 50,000 residents, and it just feels like home to me, but I don't really want to live in the city, so, I'll find a village of some sort outside. No, I haven't found a house there yet, and probably will just arrive on foreign shores with a 3-month reservation in an Airbnb and start looking for a home. My cats, both of them, are coming with me, and it's going to be the biggest adventure we've had in a long time. Now, I want to talk about my herbs again because I probably shocked you when I said I've scattered them to the winds. I cannot bring my herbs to France. It would require way too much paperwork if I could even get a license to do so. Therefore, I'm done it very slowly, a jar or two at a time, just taken them outdoors, held them in my hands, thanked them for what they had taught me, for the work that they had done with me, and then freed them of their obligation to serve my magic, and given them the opportunity to feel the sun on their fibers, the wind, the rain, the moon, the stars, all of this. And then I just scattered them. That seemed like the right thing to do. I didn't want to give them to someone else. Well, I wouldn't have minded if they were, of a similar magical bent, but I could sense that the herbs didn't want to work for someone else. They'd always been mine, and I respect that. In France, I'm going to slowly rebuild my collection. I'm hoping to be able to grow more. The climate is a little more plant friendly in Bretagne, although it does rain a lot, and I think I will enjoy establishing a herb garden there. And that's probably something I will do the first spring that I'm in my house. So that's all the exciting things that I have been doing. That has meant Um, a lack of focus, perhaps, in my magic. If I do need to practice magic, it's going to be for urgent needs and not just for things that would make things a little better, a little this, a little that. I just can't focus when I've got all these things I have to do. And intention, laser focused, so pure that you can taste it, you can smell it, you can feel it, That's what you need to successfully practice magic. So it's just as well not to practice if you are not um, capable of focusing that hard. So I will, if I have to, I will use my sigils because, well, they're born of chaos, first of all. And second of all, it's almost like a rote process to trace your finger over them. You've already filled them and charged them with magic. You're just releasing it by retracing that image. So I have sigils for a successful sale of my house, a safe move to France, finding a new home there. All of those things I've developed sigils for. And I've also developed sigils for protection because I had to take down some of my usual magical protections that were throughout the house. Every single window, above every single door, there was a small bag of protective magic. And that would look odd, shall we say, to someone coming in to look at the house with the hopes of purchasing it. I've simplified a bit. I can't do away with any of it because, we need to be safe now more so than ever. But we can certainly practice a little more subterfuge. One of the first parts of safety is not just building protection, but also building something that purifies the environment that you're in. And salt is a wonderful use of protective magic. So the first thing I did was I created 3 bottles like this. The label says sel de bain, so bath salt. And I have one on each floor in the house. The ones on the main floor and the top floor are for, you know, hidden in plain sight in the bathroom as bath salts. In the basement, which is where my art studio is located, I've just got a bottle of salt among all the other pigments and whatever, so it doesn't stand out. And these have been charged to purify everything in the house, and therefore by purifying, they also protect, because by dissolving the ill intent and the negativity in an act of purifying the house, it rids the house of it. The other thing that I have done is taken just a couple of grains of this salt, which, by the way, is salt that I gathered in Hammonasset, Connecticut at the beach. I gathered, I don't know, 5 gallons of salt water and boiled it down to make salt. And so I've got about 3 times this amount of it distributed around the house. So that has a very strong personal protective element since I distilled the salt myself. I will be doing the same thing after I arrive in France because Brittany is on the Atlantic coast. I'm just going to be on the other side of the pond, basically, at the furthest western point of France. In fact, the département, the regional governmental section is called Finistère or Land's End. So anyway, I've got the salt in the house, and I have taken a small amount of salt, diluted it quite thinly in water, and then I've taken my finger, dipped it in it, and traced a sigil of protection on all the external glass surfaces of this house. So those 2 things combined serve the purpose. Sorry if you hear bells ringing and doors opening and closing. The painters are working on the exterior of the house right now. If they come in, I'll have them say hi to you. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. And I'm really excited about salt magic in general because when I was in France this summer, I found a textbook on magic that I had never seen published in English and had never seen before in France, a fairly recent publication. And it's a book all about salt magic. And so I am going to take a deep dive into that, and we'll do it together. I wish I could find the book right now. It's probably packed in a box somewhere because I've identified all the books that I'm keeping and taking with me. And yeah, that's about it. I'm taking 2 pallets of stuff with me, personal stuff. That's out of season clothing, some of my own artwork, some of other cherished bits of artwork, the contents of the altar, and so forth. So that's what I plan to do. No, I don't think he wants to say hi. And I want to get back to salt magic with a vengeance because I just think it's so right. And I'm thrilled that there is something written on it. Just from the part of the book I've read so far, it is all in French, but thankfully, reading French is probably my best French skill. Uh, I wish I spoke it as well or understood spoken French as well as I could read, but I'll get there. I will. Um, it's a folk magic of the area, and the author learned much of it from his grandfather. And he, in the first chapter of the book, which is a little bit autobiographical, he talks about the village priest coming to visit his grandfather to acquire something magical. And I think that is so cool. And that seems to be the history of how magic works in France, because France is nominally a Catholic country. I say nominally because it is not a state religion, and in fact, laïcité, secularism, is actually one of the 4 principles upon which the French government is built. And you probably know the other 3: liberté, égalité, fraternité. So I love it that the 4th one is secularism. So the magic is probably very old, as it usually is, but over the years it has been polished and buffed a little bit and has acquired a strong patina of Roman Catholicism. So very often the invocations are written in a way that they, sorry, the door again, written in a way that they invoke the saints of the Roman Catholic religion to aid them. They're making an appeal to them. I don't think I will be using things as written in that regard because I feel, as a non-Christian, that that's cultural appropriation for me to invoke someone whose speciality and sainthood is not part of my beliefs. So I'll probably substitute a deity that I feel is appropriate, or um, occasionally I will work magic without invoking any particular deity at all. I mean, you can certainly practice secular magic. And so that's how I will probably be working with this book. So much more to follow about that. I can't tell you when I'll be posting again because it's really quite random. I don't have, the time, space, or equipment to do a lot of herbal magic at the moment. And so I will touch base with you as the story of my life develops and as I start the process of moving. And I will, of course, fill you in once I land in France. So I'm going to say the usual, which is practice something magic every day. And I'm also going to say now, a bientôt, which is see you soon.